So this is a short little video to explain how you measure voltage and current on a circuit that you built on your breadboard. So right now you can see I've got just a simple series circuit. So it goes through a resistor and then it goes through an LED to ground. Now I want to measure the voltage across my resistor and also the current going through the resistor. So I'm going to show you both of these. This over here is my multimeter. And if I want to measure the voltage, I want to use the DC volts. So there's also AC volts. You need to use DC volts. And remember, the breadboard puts out 5 volts maximum. An LED uses up about 2 volts. So I'm expecting to get roughly 3 volts across here. So the 4-volt scale is probably going to be fine for my purposes. Now down here, the black terminal should always be plugged into this common terminal, COM. And if you're measuring voltage, then I want my other lead connected here, so it actually says volts. When I want to measure the current, I'm going to need to switch to one of these two. In fact, I'll be using the milliamp scale. So this red terminal will switch over here when I want to measure the amperes. So, as I said, let's measure the voltage. And to get this one, all I should need to do is to get good electrical contact between my leads and the resistor. And so I just hold that firmly and I can read a measurement off of my screen now. Now, pressing your leads directly on the resistor like this is a little bit dodgy. If you have alligator clips and can clip onto this, that's better. And even better still is if you take short pieces of wire and plug them in and then attach your leads onto the ends of the wire so that you're not disturbing your circuit at all. So those are better ways to do it, but like I said, you can actually just do this and get a measurement that way. So that's how you measure the voltage. Measuring the current is actually a little bit more difficult. So let's do the easy parts first. As I said, we're going to be wanting to measure the current, so that means we want one of these two scales, and amps are pretty huge in terms of current. We're going to be in the milliamp range, so I'll switch my red lead over there. And again, there's going to be a choice of DC amps or AC amps, and you want the DC setting. And I'm probably going to want the 300 milliamp scale, so that's what I'll use for this. So the next question is, how do you measure the current? How do you set up your leads? It's not as simple as just attaching across the resistor. That's actually the wrong way to do it. We want to measure the current coming out of this resistor. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this guy, my lead, and plug them in over here. So I've totally isolated the resistor from the LED, and that's why the LED is not lit up right. The multimeter, your ammeter, has to be part of the circuit. In other words, the current coming through the resistor has to go into the multimeter, come out of the multimeter, and then go into the LED. So I'm effectively using my multimeter as a wire to connect these two. So let's go to the right setting here. So 300 milliamps, and then I am going to put a connection between the resistor and the LED and take my reading that way. And I know it's working because the LED came on. So my multimeter has become part of the circuit, and that means I'm accurately measuring how many milliamps are coming out of this resistor here. And that's what I wanted, how much current was flowing through the resistor. So when you're measuring a voltage, you would go just across the element that you're interested in, but when you're measuring current, the multimeter actually needs to be part of the circuit for you to measure the current.